Hello, everyone. Jai Jirendra. This is Pragya Jain from International School for Jain Studies, and you are here to attend the 23rd lecture in the online lecture series for Jainology. Today, we have our chairperson, Professor Christopher Key Chapple. You all know him very well. And we also have our speaker, Professor Kanti Mardia. We will listen to a lecture on the topic titled Overcoming the Inner Enemies, Jain Wisdom on Destructive Emotions in a Modern World. To begin this lecture, I would request our research associate, Harshit Mishra, to come ahead and recite the Mangalacharan. Harshit.
Thank you, ma'am. My voice is clear? Okay. Everyone please join the hand. Then I recite the Mangalacharan. Namo Varihantanam Namo Siddhanam Namo Vairiyanam Namo Ubajhayanam Namo Loe Sab Sahunam Eso Panchanamo Karo Sab Pav Padasano Mangaladam Chasabesim Padhamam Havai Mangalam Padhamam Havai Mangalam. धन्यवाद.
Thank you so much, Harsh. Thank you. Now, I would request our director, Dr. Srinetra Pandey, to deliver the welcome speech.
Namaskar, Jai Jinendra. I am glad to welcome you all here to the 23rd online lecture hosted by International School for Jain Studies. Today's lecture, you all are aware, we circulated it well. The topic is overcoming the inner enemies, Jain wisdom and destructive emotions. You know, in Jain tradition, the four passions known as kasayas are considered the primary obstacles to spiritual liberation. And these four passions are Krodh, Man, Maya, Lobh. In English, you can translate it as anger, pride, deceit, and greed. So these emotions, according to Jainism, bind the soul to the cycle of birth and death by generating karmic attachments. So Jain philosophy emphasizes overcoming these passions through self-discipline, forgiveness, humility, honesty, detachment, etc. And by subduing them, one progresses towards vitaragata. Vitaragata, a state of complete non-attachment leading to ultimate liberation. So in this session, we will explore the Jain aspect of overcoming these inner enemies. And we are honored to have Professor Kanti Mardia ji, a distinguished statistician and well-known Jain scholar. He holds the specially created post of senior professor at the University of Leeds from 2000, and from 2013 to 23. For 10 years, he served as visiting professor at the University of Oxford. He has received numerous awards from statistical associations and Jain organizations, and was honored with an Officer of the Order of the British Empire, OBE, for his contributions to both fields and his charitable works. As per my knowledge, among many of his authored books, he has authored at least 3 books on Jainism. The first is The Scientific Foundation of Jainism, and then Living Jainism, and Ethical Science, co-authored with Eden Rankin, and uh, Destructive Emotions, Jain Perspective is his recent work on Jainism, and we are going to discuss this in this session in detail. So, Professor Mardia, on behalf of myself and behalf of International School for Jain Studies, I extend a warm welcome to you for this virtual platform. It's our privilege and honor to have Professor Christopher K. Chapple. Professor Chapple is our own. He is one of the faculty member. He is our mentor. He is our uh, academic advisor from Loyola Marymount University, Los Angeles, California, USA. We are honored to have him as the chairperson of this session. Professor Chapple is the Pratima Doshi Professor of Indic and Comparative Theology at Loyola Marymount University. He specializes in Indian religious traditions, particularly Jainism and yogic tradition of India, as the founding director of LMU's Masters of Art in Yoga Studies. He has contributed significantly to the academic study of yoga philosophy, not only Jain yoga, but yoga tradition, Patanjali yoga tradition, Buddhist yoga tradition, and Jain yoga tradition. So he has written a lot of books and articles on ecological perspective, Jainism, Buddhism, and yogic tradition of India. And over his career, I think he has authored uh, around 2 dozen books on Indian religious traditions and yogic traditions. So, Professor Chapel, on behalf of myself, on behalf of organizing committee and ISGS, I welcome you this virtual platform of ISGS. I welcome our own co-founder of ISGS, Dr. Surekhji. Uh, we have uh, Dr. Narendra Parsanji, our academic advisor, Dr. Narendra Parsanji, Professor Susma Sanghvi ji, one of the faculty members of ISCS, Dr. Jivraj Jain ji. I can see here Professor Dr. Pratap Sancheti, Mrs. Ava Jain ji from Delhi. And yes, I also convey my deep regards uh, to the auspicious presence here of Maharaj Sri Nandi Ghosh Sureshwarji Maharaj Sahab. I welcome all the attendees who are joining us from the various part of the globe. And I also welcome my colleagues here at ISGS, Dr. Ashok Singh, Pragya ji, uh, Mr. Harshit Misra, and Mr. Gopal. I welcome you all. Over to you, Pragya.
Thank you. Thank you so much for welcoming all of us, Dr. Pandey. Now I would directly go to the speaker, Professor Kanti Mardia, and request him to deliver his talk. Professor Mardia.
Okay, let me see whether I can share. I think that's always a challenge, the IT. So whether I've got it there or just screen, just 1 second. Share. Okay, folks, can you see the first page?
Yes,
of
yes,
the slide?
yes. Of course.
Jai Jinendra, everyone, it's wonderful to be invited by JSIJ, which is one of the very important organization, very leading and doing all kind of exciting work. And it's nice to be a part of it. Also, I'm very thankful to Dr. Pandey for the introduction. I am so grateful. Also to Professor Chapple, who is looking after me rather than I'm looking after him. So who is going to chair me, and I'm sure he's going to interrupt and find all kind of challenges for me. Okay, so the topic is overcoming the inner enemies, Jain wisdom on destructive emotions in a modern world. I think that, well, this is the topic, destructive emotion, of my book published October 2024. Can you hear me, or there was
Yes,
some
Yes,
yes,
exciting
please
sound?
go on.
Sorry, was it something?
We can hear you, Professor Mardia.
Okay. Yeah, there was some interruption, exciting. Okay, it's a signal and noise ratio. So pre-publication was launched on 23rd October at the University of Birmingham. And nice to see Mary Helen to be there. Also nice to see my big Guruji, so distinguished, who has helped me so much. Nandi Ghosh Vijayji, we have been together for years and years, maybe 30 or more than that. So it is a long association. Okay, so let us now outline of the talk. So first there will be some introduction, and then there will be destructive emotions, relevant overview of the book as it is relevant, not whole of the book, fortunately. Then the system, four principle of Kashaya doctrine, which I have propounded or suggested a system. And please note abbreviation, keep in your mind 4PKD or PKD. It will come 100 times in my talks. And it stands for, as a mathematician, I think we are used to abbreviations. So principle of Kashaya doctrine. So it can be 4 principle, then 4 PKD or PKD. Then, so that this part, the first, this fourth principle is going to be slightly academic and may not be accessible to everyone. So don't get upset. Okay, just you stay on. I think don't run away, because the later on of the part, the accessible part, I think the subject, of course, not because of us, but because of centuries of work, has been made accessible by all kind of devices. So analogy is the one device which I will go through. Parables is another device. Multimedia approach, which we have adopted for 21st century. And there will be a short video clip. And then the very exciting part, when I started this book 30 years ago, I had some idea of principle PKD, but didn't realize that Gandhi already had from Russian by some connection. So I found something which is very rare and it is not being quoted, and I will show you. So that's the excitement for you. And then there will be take home message if there is a one. Okay, so I hope today's talk be viewed with open mind. We know Anekantvad principle, we know elephant and six blind men stories. All of us have heard several times. And especially these PKDs are in a way not unique. So it's not a mathematical way of a unique axiomatic system. So it develops and you may come out at the end of the talk of your own system. So that will be very exciting. So Kashaya and its importance of Kashaya in Jain tradition, already Dr. Pandey has mentioned the inner enemies, which has got 4 emotional components. The one which is acronym used by Chitrabhanu, who was one of my really teacher, Gurudev, anger, krodh, greed, lobh, ego, man, deceit, maya, and why we get old, why we get aged, because of these 4 kashayas, they play role and they make us aged or aged. So that's the acronym, and good to remember, those who are not familiar with these 4 kind of negatives. So, but when you come to the theory, or when you come to what is easier to get rid of or overcome, it's suppose in our Jain psychology, anger is the easiest, and pride next, and deceit another, but the greed is the most difficult one. So that's the way in our karmic philosophy, that's how the karmic matter is associated. So it has been already the first, there has been a recital today in the beginning, the opening line of our prayer, Namo Rihantanang. So I bow to Arihants, and Arihants are understood as the conqueror of the inner enemies or Kashayas or Vitragi, as what has been pointed out. And you will find another word which is not commonly used, Akashaya, which is antonyms of Kashaya. So you will find that that particular part fairly soon. So that's so why, I wrote my first book in which I tried to put foundation in a system, as the system I have got here of four Jain truth, or it was axiomatic system. And then I realized that more and more I thought about it, that Kashaya is the key, plays key role in all what I mentioned. So, but then when I looked for literature on Kashaya, it was so much. It was mind-boggling. And then how to see the wood for the trees, and that also in contemporary language. We have got Kashaya Pahud, we have got quite a lot of big scriptures, but how to actually see the wood for the trees. What are the key elements of Kashaya? And before we can overcome, we have to understand what are they? What are these enemies? What are they doing? And before we can get rid of them. So we have to learn what are these, and then we can then see how to fight. So after research for more than 30 years into his scriptures and consultation with many gurus and a scholar, and you will see, if the time permitting, some of the photos led to a comprehensive treatise, what I call, this is a bit of immodesty, what I wrote my book, The District of Emotion, to feel, I think it fills a significant gap in my own way of approaching it, and leading then to the summary. Eventually, as I said, the wood for the trees to see, you have to have the basis, or you have to have some form of summary or some form of synopsis. So I produced hierarchical 4 PKD, which has got hierarchical structure. I won't tell you what they are yet. So you wait to see as we go along. You will learn what they are, and then you can try some of your own when we finish the lecture. So the pattern of the structure is there are 1, 2, 3, 4 theory to understand what are these, what do they do, and then you come to application, how to overcome, and then what is the path, and which way hierarchical, what is first, what is second, what is third. So in sequential way, you will see one way I have done, which follows the pattern of my first book, The Scientific Foundation of Jainism, which distilled from my way of looking the essence of Jain belief into an axiomatic system. When I wrote it as a mathematician, axiomatic system. But then people, the reviewer, one of them said, call it 4 noble truths of Jain. And then now more I am thinking of as a 4 Jain truths. So that's roughly give you a bit of hint in what is to come. And you can start thinking of constructing your own 4 PKD as I go along, and when in discussion, perhaps you will give me at the end. Okay, when now you compare, when I writing, there is a vast accessible literature for 7 deadly sins, which some of you would know, and some of our Kashaya is a part of 7 deadly sin. And then, of course, we all know 3 poisons, Buddhism, and thanks to Dalai Lama, so much is known, and one of his book is actually Destructive Emotions. Some of you may be familiar. So from Buddhist point of view, it is a very active subject, but I don't see as much in our Jain way and Jain philosophy is not one of the area which is hot. Yeah. Okay, so that's so main feature of the book. I will just go quickly to remind myself what did I do. Okay. So first, I went through chronologically how it developed, how it changed from first scripture into in a different format, and how it went from one to another. Then I, of course, have to go through original, stanzas and have to learn, and put into different language to understand because it is all spread out. So Prakrit, Sanskrit, Hindi, Gujarati, Maru Gujar. But the main text, because the contemporary language is English, so my more focus has been in English. There are quotations, sources throughout the book, benefited, as I said before, of many gurus as scholar throughout my writing. Then I feel I've done historical and careful assessment. And I think that someone has to review it and criticize that what I'm talking is nonsense. Given original analysis. And then one thing which is different than most of the writing, that it is interdisciplinary. I have no walls. I am Department of Statistics, and I know there are walls between Department of Statistics and other areas of science. And I have been, one of my focus has been breaking these walls. Then there are many illustration graphics to make key points and also to make it accessible, that it doesn't go above our head. And you will see some glimpse of what it is. Then there is a composed, of course, Sajai, and there are already Sajai, which I will come later on. And there will be an album with Dr. Ravindra Jain, Dr. Ravindra Jain, and a very small clip. We haven't got time to indulge quite a lot. Then there are tables, because I'm a scientist, I believe in focus. So there are tables, and then there are way to support and summarize scripture. There is a bibliography, a lot of bibliography, and there is a biography, how the book came. So it is, so then essence, having done all writing and all this, nutshell is a system of 4 PKD. And then there is a package, because when I have given lecture, people say, oh, it is a book, it is your slides. Then there is a plate, then there is this album with of the sajais which we created, and it is on YouTube videos which are popular in some sense without marketing. So now I give you a timeline of evolution of Kashaya to gain accessibility. Because when you look at our old Jain scripture, of course, they are very profound, but the message is in Prakrit, and then commentary you have to go to understand. So I do scriptural synthesis in the older one, then 1st century Umaswati and Parasmati. And then we come to 10th century work of Nemichandra, then 11th century, the simplification and a very powerful way of presentation came with Hemchandracharya. Of course, Hari Bhadra were before, and Professor Chapple is expert on it. Then subsequently, what Sanskrit, Prakrit to Sanskrit, and then they became song or hymns, which are of Isho Vijayji, which are very popular, and they are still used in Pratikaman. 20th century, Rachan Bhai, Gandhi, of course, work with on this particular topic because of discussion with Rachan Bhai. Then 20th century, how to overcome. I think that's the very important the title. But of course, Mahapragna, Tulsiji, and Chitra Bhanu, I have learned quite a lot, and then there is a substantial amount on the book. Then 21st century, of course, Ravindra Jain, I did this modern Sajai, which are in one of the chapters. They are Hindi songs, which describe, and you will see, give hint of what Kashayas are, and one of the principle. And then there is the epilogue, which gives, after writing all that, and many other chapters are there, I'm not going to discuss, then there is an epilogue which try to get the focus, the wood and trees, just keep on remembering. So some basic from scriptures. So word Kashaya, it wasn't originally meant what we have just said, the 4 parts. I will come to that later. But Kashaya has got 2 parts, Prakrit Kas and Aya. So negative gain, and then it is well described in this particular from Acharya Nemichandra. They gave the name Kashaya to the passion which plows and nurture the karmic field that yields the abundant crop of pleasure and pain, and that binds the soul in this mundane existence. This is the original. I won't go through the original, but this translation, adapted translation. So it is well known to everyone that Kashaya represents the continuing traps in the cycle of migration, where the intrinsic property of the soul is contaminated. And when I was talking to Chitrabhanu, he said, it is like a kasai. It is kasai ka kaam karta hai. So it butchers. So that was his interpretation. Now you will ask, having said all this, where the word Kashaya came. So in Acharan Sutra, when you look, the first time it comes, and it is not composite. It has got no 4 parts. But when you go subsequently to Sutrakranga, then there are 12 scene and 18 seals of well-known pap, which we know there are 4. But the composite, as far as I could see, come from this Vakalika Sutra, Koho, Moho, Mano, Maya, Loba. So that becomes, from that time, Kashaya represented these 4 components. So now I come to this, what strategy I've used in the construction of 4 PDK, and you can follow or you can enjoy the weight of searching. So first you have to learn the whole subject, and then you have to learn scripture and find out, what is important and what is not important. So then once you have done, you have to gather the seed thoughts. What are the basic, and then from seed thought, what I have done is rendered as principle in vernacular, full stanza or partial. But my focus, they were my starter, these vernacular version and stanza. But then English version, it is slightly either translated directly or extended in the form, being the main focus for me as a contemporary version, because that's the language people now know, globally. So again, the hierarchical structure, what I said before, is this form, and you will see how it has been used. So now having said all this bakwas I've done, after bakwas, I think, which is, what is the first thought? We have already seen one stanza that Kashaya is responsible for rebirth, and there is this stanza which we have gone through, Kashaya Chinchati Mulai Punnabhavasa. So that Kashaya water the roots of the rebirth tree, that's the original, that goes part of it into the form of scripture version of 4th PKD, that's the part of that. The same theme continues. So the second, what is the second? Is having known, it is giving you birth over and over again, how to stop rebirth. And this famous of stanza of our, Haribhadra Suriji, very, very popular. Everyone, or most of the scholar knows, most of Gurujis. And in that there's a part, Kashaya Mukti Kil Mukti Reva. So that what comes out to be, it is, if you want to go to moksha, you have to get rid of Kashaya, you have to get mukti from this. So, and that's been taken from Updesh Tirangi, and it has been attributed to 6th century Acharya Haribhadra Suri, as far as I could work out. Then third principle, having done all this, then what are these in particular? The Kashaya, which are these specific enemies? What are the agents who keep on, doing this rebirth? And so the one of the important is karmic component, which is 8 types of karma in ordinary language. And so then this is the original, which has got emphasis on karmic components, from Istanang Sutra, quite potent. And then it's a little bit of extension, because I've created the word karmons, and which is a fundamental in my book. If you look through my first book, and now I'm glad it is used quite regularly in literature. So karmons, karmic components, karmic soul colors, which is Leshya, volitional activities, all contribute to Kashaya. So this stanza, it takes and this is the structure, partial seed thought from the principle of karmic components, which is in the scriptural version, but it focuses on a bit broader way of karmic agents. So now we come to, having done the theory, we know what are these agents, and then how to combat them, how to find them, how to fight them. So then we come to, in practice, hierarchically, as that was 1, 2, 3. In the same way, when you go through that, reflecting with pure mind, speech and body on the circumstances, and causing that brings about the passion and the process which leads to their pacification, should enable one to avoid causes of passions and adopt the process leading to their cessation. So that's from Prasamrati or Uma Swati, very important. And then it has been used, this stanza directly, and bit of extension in 4a. So then now we go to, having said in general practice, what is the day-to-day practice? So we all get anger, we get all become greedy, we all do everything, we are at our level of spiritual formulation or spiritual status. So this is directly from Yoga Shastra of Hemchandra. That translation I will go through, it is all there. Overcome anger with forgiveness, pride with humility, deceit with straightforwardness, and greed with contentment. So this is, then you go to the next, the final one. So the final one is a much broader, because Kashaya doing by themselves is not complete. And the overall path is, which is observance of vows and various things, as it has been of Nemichandras. Then it becomes, the key is Bad Samiti Kashayanam Jo Sanjamo Bhanyo. So that's the vernacular, but it is a bit extended in the austerities of observing the 5 vows and exercise the 4 Jain to lead to the Akashaya state. Now this word Akashaya, I looked everywhere, because we know Vitrag and, we know Prashamrati and all, but we hardly have found, but it is in our scriptures, Akashaya, which is I am doing. Well, I've gone through this formulation of the system of 4 PKD, and this is the summary, but we will come later on for number 2, PKD 2, when I come to Gandhi. Then these are the original summary, and from what is the text source which has been used. So recap, what has happened. So theory, there are 1, 2, 3. Rebirth is important, stopping it is important, but how do you stop the abstract are Kashaya agent. That's the abstract. Hormones are abstract. Karmic particles are abstract. Karmic components is abstract. And then how to do, we have gone through practice in general, but particular practice for the four, we have gone through Yoga Sastras, particular Stanja, and then we have gone through overall path. So 4 PKD, and these brackets have meaning, the round bracket and square bracket, because they are two different varieties. Okay, so now now the time has come to thank who have helped me over 30 years of my asking question one after another. The late Acharya Sushil Kumarji, as early as 1976, I was asking him. Then, of course, late Acharya Mahapragna, especially to understand how to overcome Preksha Dhyan, and I had my questions. Then Dr. Acharya Vijay Nandi Goswariji, who has been helping me all the time, late Sagarmalji Jain. Then another who really made me think and work is late Jambu Vijayji Maharaj. He advised, so first my book, he advised me to follow Umaswati Tattva Sutra as much as I could from my way. And then when I asked him, when I met him for the second book, he said that I should first, Prashamrati is the one I should get master before I do anything. And that's why what has come, that one of the chapter is closely related. And late Gurudev Chitrabhanuji made quite a lot of things which are accessible. It's not everything is clear cut. There is quite a difficult subject. And then, of course, late Professor P.H. Jain, he went through my draft of the book, and the first book also, which relied heavily on him. So now we come to the simple task, I think, which takes away all the pressure. And so, because the subject is so complex, I think our Guruji's, Acharyaji, they try to make it accessible. So you have seen these. I'm just looking at time. I think it's okay. So you have come across this, that the analogy, and you can go back and think about it. The modern analogy are directly to the people, not animals. And you can see greed, anger in this form. And then you can see pride, deceit. So that's today. That was yesterday. Again, the Hemchandracharyas in his stanzas gave quite a one good analogy. The virtue tree, which is bearing fruits, which is a Kashaya tree. And then he gave analogy for anger, how it does the damage. Not only it hits oneself, but it hits others. Then he has used pride, the same analogy, that what happens to when you have got pride, when you have got deceit, and when you have got greed, and greed is really a python, takes away the roots. So then I went through, because we have 4 levels in our ancient work to understand psychology of Kashaya. There are 4 levels, starting with a line drawn on water, which you can remove easily, and so on and so forth. This will come in a video. Then the thermometer, how your anger, what it reaches, 1-to-1 correspondence. Then Kashayas in parables. Of course, if you know of honey drops, that in the well, there are these 4 cobras, which are labeled in one of the version as Kashayas. Then parable of 6 friend, Kashaya is highly correlated with Lishya. I've got one chapter totally dedicated to it. And Jain, they say he's environmental friendly, that to be a true Jain, you have to be only eating what is below the tree. Then the Guruji's Acharyas went on And you might not, some of you won't know that they created this Gyan Baji, very complex, but it has got the ideas of Kashayas throughout when you play, and the modern snake and ladders have come to this. So this is one old, this is Kashaya. It comes into 4 parts in most of them, but this one which I got from Smith Medicine has got Kashaya word in itself. So this is very available, but this is the modern version of this. So still, the people, as I'm told, uh, play this, or they are instructed to play this. Then, as I said before, when I started talking about this, people says, make it accessible. Then, so to make it accessible, I collaborated with Dr. Ravindra Jain. He was such a genius. Of course, he was a genius. And we produced my first book, and then 2 songs, and then for each one of anger, pride, deceit, and greed, there is version of this. And so I will just try, if it works out, this video. So the first few lines of Krodha, anger, Sajai, and their analogies are used in this particular, even in few. So now let us see whether it works. I think I don't trust. Sorry, I've done something stupid.
Sir, I think you have to double click.
Professor Mardia, are you sharing a window? I think if you share the whole screen, then we can hear the sound as well. We cannot hear any sound.
So that's done. So there are links available if you type this. Then to disseminate, there are plates and principle of Kashaya doctrines, all kind of things, like magnetic sticker and all that. So now I come to the Mahatma Gandhi, most important part of my talk. So you know this from his biography that Raichan Bhai influenced him considerably. So the one which is um, I took quite years to find, this one particular the part in one of the magazine. Mahatma Gandhi is endorsing that magazine. And then he says, because of my affinity to Jainism, because of my association with Jain meetings, some consider me Jain, etc., etc. And then he goes through his idea of reverence for life at Jains. But the key from my point of view was I went through everything because I was searching what he came at the end. And then this in Gujarati, those who can read, Kem ke mokash malvo etle, you have to have get rid of rag dvesh. So rag dvesh is equivalent to kashaya, and that's what in one of this article he came to a conclusion with. So that's a very important thing that eventually that's how himself, this PKD2, he himself summarized. So now what is going on for future? I don't want to end here. They're going to be display of what I call 4 Jain truth in granite engraved at the Jain, very big size, about 4 feet by 3 foot. Then there will be popular version of my book, Destructive Emotions, just as I did for my first book. New edition of Scientific Foundation. So there is you have seen one part of album which is anger was in video, but still I'm working on pride, deceit, and greed. And then the important for me is to support interdisciplinary Jain studies in universities, broad, very broad, and to fund international workshop, especially currently on destructive emotion. So I have created contemporary vocabulary as I go along, and many people, fortunately, are taking like Jain Tava, karmons, karmic matter, karmic component, destructive emotions, akashaya state, lesha, and then these 4. So this is roughly what the book has got. They are blessing from Dr. Acharya Sri Vijay Nandi Vijayji, who is here. The cover image is I did with his help, and Gautam Swami, you can see his picture. There's a foreword by Dr. Christy Wiley. Then take home message, and I'm coming to an end. The take-home message in the book is reduce your hormone intake, increase Jainness diet. So keep on eating Jainness diet and you'll be okay. The currency of Kashaya is time from your lifespan account. So that's, are you able to hear what I'm saying? Okay, I
Yes.
thought I'm talking to myself. And there's a wanted list. So I have this association, JNTA, and which want to promote these 2 systems which I have given of our Tirthankar message. There is nothing new. It is just reinterpreted Tirthankar's message for 21st century. Okay, folks, Michami Dukadam, thank you for listening to me. So इधर ये खत्म होता है अब. Okay. So now what do? I stop share.
Thank you,
stop.
Professor Mardia. Yeah. I invite questions or remarks if there are any.
Yes, I would like to start as chair to say a few things. And during this time, I encourage people to gather some questions. And my remarks will only be, say, around 5 minutes or so. But I first want to give high praise to Dr. Mardia. This book is beautiful. And it's replete with illustrations, as you saw, photographs of Dr. Mardia with esteemed figures, near and dear to so many of us over the years. And it also is very thoughtful in terms of the graphic presentations. And I'm hoping that Dr. Pandey will be able to share the links to the video resources that have already been posted so that we could each, on our own time, have some opportunity to reflect. What I want to, at the core, is to highlight the central message, which literally speaks directly to the condition of each and every soul. We're here because of the Kashayas. Okay? We all, to varying degrees, grapple every day with our anger, with our pride, with our deceit. We grapple with our greed. And it's both personal, as this book expresses so beautiful, and it's hardwired into the karma of society. Our dharma, unfortunately, is suffused. Our societal glue is suffused with the negativities of the Kashayas. People are quick to stoke up hatred of other groups. People are quick to stoke up a sense of ego. I am in charge. People are quick to send out messages that are less than true. And people are driven to have more and more and more. And the solutions are beautifully presented. We need to learn to forgive. We need to put others ahead of ourselves. We need to ourselves inhabit and search out. It is not easy to search out and live in truth. And we must learn to be happy with what we actually have been gifted through this remarkable experience of life to have as our birthright, which truly is happiness. Now, I want to talk briefly about a fivefold yoga formulated by Haribhadra, the Haribhadra that is known as Virahanka, the earlier Haribhadra, little history there. But he says that the first step to overcoming the Kashayas is the resolve to enter the spiritual path, Adhyatma. Number one. Number two, the spiritual path requires bhavana, cultivation, careful attention to the vrats, to what in yoga are called the yamas. Ahimsa, satya, asteya, brahmacharya, aparigraha. Third, to commit oneself to a daily practice of sustained meditation, dhyana. Could be in the posture of Kayotsarga, letting those impulses settle down, letting those impulses of karma dissipate, entering a state of samatha, of being in equipoise. And by doing these three, having set out on this journey, automatically there will be vritti, some kashaya, the fifth level, where the karmas automatically will evaporate. So I invite you, I'm going to lead us through a little bit of a physical practice, if you will, just sitting there. But start by bringing your fingers to your throat and resolve with your silent voice to manifest calm, to manifest nonviolence, to speak, to think, to encourage others to do no harm. And then bring your hands to your heart and dwell in the truth of silence, Satya. And then bring your hands down to your belly. And in the Yoga Sutra, it says that when you stop stealing from others, that you come to see that everything glistens like the jewels, those inner organs, those beautiful places of stomach, spleen, gallbladder, kidneys, liver, those beautiful jewels that we hold within. And then bring your hands to your lap. And with brahmacharya, we hold our energies close and with care. And then place your hands behind you. And with the parigraha, we let go, we shed all of those things that we no longer need, that are driven by what the Buddhists call hatred, greed, and delusion. Let them go. So I invite you to take not only to heart, but through your whole body, these vows that allow the release of karmas, that allow the overcoming of anger, pride, deceit, and greed. And I salute Professor Mardia. I've already recommended the book for use in our summer class, our graduate seminar in Jain Studies, in Jain Yoga this summer. And I really look forward, hopefully, to seeing many of you in Birmingham in September. So I think we have time for a couple of comments, a couple of questions. Thank you.
Thank
May
you
I
for
just
the
say,
brief, Professor Chapple.
sorry, may I just say thank you to you, and you kindly helped me to clarify the difference between Patanjali's and Ishavijayji. I think the Jain commentary on Patanjali, well known as Ishavijayji, which I have got in the book, and personal thanks have been theirs. Okay, thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that was beautiful. And I was going to read out, I'm so happy that you include Yashivajayaji. We're reading his 3232 now, which interfaces Patanjali and the Haribhadras and everything with the Jain worldview. And as Haribhadra says, everybody is agreed that we must diminish the karmas that cause us pain.
Any questions? Yes,
Yes,
Professor
Maria
Gupta.
Len.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. That was wonderful. So yeah, you know, I've had a very busy semester, but the first thing on my summer list plans is to read your great book, and so I haven't done yet. But your talk already made me want to dive into it as soon as I can. What I've tried, I'm just trying to recapitulate what I thought I understood from your talk. So I'm just trying to answer the question: how can we concretely overcome kashayas? So, and I think Chris really did that well as well at the end. So we need to learn to forgive, and here Emma Chandra is doing a wonderful work, overcome anger with forgiveness and the like. And after that, Professor Mardia, you also shown that we can describe all the bad effects also on this kashaya, on our life, current life, but also on our future lives. And here, analogies are a very strong pedagogical tool. One of our methods that we've heard about just right now, actually, that was going to be my question, is that do we have a lot of meditation which is suggested to overcome this kashaya? So I guess in Emma Chandra, you have meditation as a very powerful tip as well. A powerful tool. I mean, do you have also meditation in other authors than Emma Chandra?
May
Because
I just
you
say,
were making this history,
no,
yes,
okay,
yes.
may
So,
I
yes.
say something? I spend a lot of time to find a specific meditation for each of the kashaya. Anger,
Oh,
what should you do? And I ended up with Mahapragna. His book
yes.
gives a special, so I had discussion with many people, but he has targeted that for anger, what you should do. And I had few questions because he has got a sevenfold for each of these particular kashayas. And I had few things to ask him because they were not consistent. So that's where he helped me to resolve my inconsistency, which took time. I have to see him personally and I have to sit near him. And he was surprised that no one had asked him such a question before. So I was gratified that I was not talking nonsense, which I do many a times.
Oh, thank you. I have to, to read what he has written about this. Yes, thank you so much. Thanks.
Thank you, Professor Goris, for the question. Do we have any other question here? All right, I think Professor Chapple, generally we have this tradition to end the session with the chairperson's remark. Do you have anything more to say?
Yes, gratitude and a feeling that this community from Jaini, Pabanab Jaini, to Mahapragya, to Chitrabhanu, and then invoking people who recently have passed, such as Johannes Bronkhorst and Paul Dundas, that this community of scholars have worked assiduously to give honor to the commitment, the life commitment of people such as Nandi Goshashuri, who are with us. I was so happy to see that we have a Muni in our midst. And I remember when I first met Pabanab Jaini in 1984, having taught his book for a couple of years, The Jain Path of Purification. And I said, what more can be done? And he said, Chris, you must put yourself in the company of the saints. You must go to India and just not always concern yourself with the theory, but to surround yourself with people immersed in the practice. And this is a very interesting proposition for people of academia. And yet it's part of the mission of education worldwide. Why do we learn to read and write? Why do we learn to converse? Why do we learn principles? We learn in order to bring ourselves forward, in order to find our best self. So I just want to give praise for the interface of disciplines that have informed Professor Mardia, and give praise to the work of ISJS, which has brought hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people to India to experience what Pavanab Jaini had advised me so many years ago. And I know that these small efforts that we make to encounter, to have a darshan of wisdom, these bear fruit, which hopefully lands us in a place where we're no longer so obsessed with the fruits of our actions, but are able to come to a place of peace.
Mhm.
Thank you for
Thank
this
you.
opportunity.
Thank you, Professor Chapple. Now I would request Dr. Sulek ji to share his views and offer vote of thanks. Sulek ji.
Oh, Pragya. Hold on, you people are calling me. Pragya, first of all, I want to, we will talk later, beta. Pragya, I want to thank IESJS for organizing this beautiful seminar, beautiful talk. I've known Kanti Bhai for many, many years. He has done a wonderful job. And I learned a lot from his book and also by talking many times with him. I look at these 4 emotions, and he given Kashai, of course, the name we all know. And then the name, he has given destructive emotions, destructive name. I call it cancer of the Atma. I always think of this another word. These are cancer of the soul, cancer of the Atma. Physical cancer, there is a treatment. Okay, we go to hospitals. But in many, many cases, these 4 kashai, 4 cancers, many times, even we don't realize. And even if we realize many, many times, we feel more happy as this cancer increases. So out of these 4, I consider the cancer number 1, the biggest cancer is ego. Ego takes to anger, to greed and deceit. So I feel ego is the one which is the biggest cancer. And as Christopher Chapple mentioned, meditation, ahimsa, pratikarman. Okay, it has to be daily practice. And that's the only way we can take care, we can cure this cancer. So, and very quickly, I would like to make a comment that out of the 14 Gunastan, okay, these are steps of evolution, a spiritual evolution. The difference between from the 13th to 14th, I consider the obstruction from 13 to 14 is the ego. When the ego goes away, I feel, then one reaches to the 14th stage. So I want to thank, I would like to give it another name, if Dr. Kanti Mardia will agree. Cancer of the Atma. Destructive emotions are the cancer of the Atma. And thank you. I want to thank my older brother, Mota Bhai, and Kanti Mardia. Thank you, Bhaiya.
Do you want me to say something or I should keep quiet?
Absolutely. I'd like to hear from you, Kanti Bhai.
Yeah, Sulek Bhai, of course, is a very बड़े ज्ञानी हैं. उनका मुकाबला मैं नहीं कर सकता. I can't compete with him. I have to just, although he says bada bhai, he is much bigger in knowledge. Number 1, I think, is cancer is perhaps too strong, although he told me several before as well, and I thought about it, because cancer is one disease, but we could have 100 of other diseases. At this time and space, cancer is regarded as the worst But who knows, tomorrow, with medical science advancing, it may be different. Then second thing about Gulistan, it is greed, which is regarded as the 13th, 14th state of Gulistan is the most difficult. So the order APDG is the order of Jain psychology, but you can change it. The way, if you go through, the way you one try to remove one after another, then it is in Gulistan and everywhere else, the order is APDG, anger, pride, deceit, and then comes the greed is the hardest. Though I agree, they are interlinked. One leads to another. So those are my two answers, and maybe wrong, and because there are many Mahagyani, Guruji may add something to it. I think he has raised his hand.
Yes, Pragya, before you conclude, please request Maharaj Sahab.
Yes,
something.
please, Bharat Sahab, I would request you to please share your views. I can try to unmute you. Yes.
Yes.
Many blessings to all of you.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Can you hear?
Yes.
Can you listen? Many blessings to all of you. And at present, it is very, very difficult to demolish the anger, pride, deceit, and greed. Mostly, greed is the most highly effective. And at the end of the 10th Kurasana, it can be demolished. At present, we have maximum 4th, 5th, or maximum 6th Kurasana. So it is very difficult to demolish such destructive emotions at present era.
Thank you, Maharaj Sahab. Thank you so much.
May I just say some last thing? Sorry to interrupt. See, I've talked about, four
We can
kashaya.
reduce it. We can reduce it.
But as you know, sorry, I was just making separate. I'm always thankful, Guruji, for your kind, what opinion. But I was just talking totally perpendicular. Sorry. So what I was saying that I covered quite a lot in limited as far as I could, very sweeping. But what I discussed was 4 kashayas, but there are subsidiary kashaya, no kashaya, the 9 like hashya, laughter and fear and all that. But in my book, I have got a very good, and also how it relates to the current IQ and EQ and how they are very much connected with the current psychology. With if you combine the kashaya with no kashaya. Anyway, sorry, I think I'm just the thought that it was of some point which I should have mentioned, but I missed out. And I'm grateful to the comment from Sulekji and of course Nandi Ghosh Vijayji. I am always listening, always learning. I'm always thankful. I'm so blessed with him. Okay, thank you. Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Dr. Pandey, would you like to acknowledge the presence of all the dignitaries?
Yes. So again, I thank you all. We have we had our advisor, Dr. Jaswant Modi Visat, and we have Dr. Srikant Ganveer, coordinator of Bhagwan Sitalnath Chair for Jain Archaeology at Deccan College to be deemed University, Pune. He is doing a very good job in the field of Jain archaeology. You all are well that this is the first kind of chair dedicated to archaeology, Jain archaeology. And yes, uh, we have Krishnamurti ji, who attends our lectures and is very not only attends, he circulate our advertisements widely. So I am very grateful to him. We have Dr. Pratap Sancheti ji, we have Professor Susma Singhvi ji, yes, Dhruti Rathi ji. So yeah, Abhaji from Delhi. I express my gratitude to all of you for your kind presence here, and yes, for your kind information. Just one thing to announce that next month we are not going to conduct a monthly lecture because from the next week, uh, yes, from Monday, Tuesday, we are going to conduct a 35 days, 5 week summer school, our 20th summer school. So it starts on 17th and will conclude on 21st July. So due to our super busy schedule in summer school, we are not going to conduct our monthly lecture series next month, but then we will resume again in month of from the month of August. So thank you for your cooperation, your guidance, and your presence. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pandey. Thank you, everyone. See you soon. Jai Jinendra.